Hey guys, welcome back to the Nostalgic Neighborhood. While we often talk about BMX and skateboarding, today instead of spinning wheels, we're spinning records. Remember how visiting a friend's bedroom for the first time meant diving straight into their music collection? It was a great way to bond, discovering new bands together and sharing stories behind our favorite albums. I've received a few questions about my setup back here, so I thought it'd be fun to recreate that experience with you today by exploring some of my vinyl collection. It seems that for most of us, while of course we enjoy new music, there's just something incredibly nostalgic about the tunes we listened to back in the day. And maybe it's because those songs were the backdrop to our firsts, our first loves, our first heartbreaks, our first big adventures. Or maybe they remind us of simpler times, the friends we had, or the dreams we were chasing. Whatever it is, those old tracks seem to be woven into the very fabric of who we are. I had a record player and quite a few records back in college, but all that's been long gone for a while now. And when I set up my daughter's old bedroom here into a home office, I decided that I wanted to get a new turntable and some records for a little listening station. For the turntable, I was looking for something with really good quality, but that wasn't super expensive, so I went with U-Turn Audio's Orbit, and they come in a few different colors, but I really love this blue one, and of course I had to upgrade to the translucent platter here. I just think it looks really awesome, and it's manually operated, but it offers excellent sound quality, and I've got the optional built-in Pluto preamp. And my only complaint is that if you want to adjust speeds, you have to kind of reroute this cable here, and it can be a little bit finicky, but otherwise it's awesome and I really love it. Okay, for the speakers, I wanted them to be powered so that I didn't have to take up space for a dedicated amplifier in the setup. And I did a bunch of homework and I landed on the Fives from Klipsch, and I love their retro looks with modern features. They've got built-in Bluetooth, but also support optical and HDMI inputs. And I connect my turntable via composite cables, and then I stream music through an old Apple TV using AirPlay. And it's super convenient and great for a slightly better sound than Bluetooth. So yeah, I keep the records in this cheap IKEA Calyx shelf unit, and the speakers are on Kanto stands. And then I've got a bunch of reimagined concert posters on the wall to kind of tie it all together. And if you're interested in hearing more about those, let me know down in the comments. Okay, so let's start with some of the music from the 80s era, and I would love to really dive deep into these, but for the sake of time, we're just kind of flip through relatively quickly. This first one here is The Replacements, Pleased to Meet Me. This was one of my favorite tapes back in the day, and the song Can't Hardly Wait is still one of my favorites. This is a live album from The Replacements. This one here is Lovin' Rockets. I'm wearing the shirt I got back in like the 9th grade. I've been a huge fan of Lovin' Rockets for a long time. This one's cool because it's got the blue vinyl. The Ocean Blue, this is one of my all-time, probably most listened to albums. I think this was released in like '89 or so. It's also on blue vinyl. About a year ago, Bill Allen was in town. He was Crew Jones on the movie Rad, and I had the opportunity to meet him and get this signed. I'm gonna take this with me to the Buckeye Bike Show here at the end of May, and I'm gonna see if I can't get Mike Miranda and Eddie Fiola to sign it on here too. And it's red vinyl on the back, which is really cool. Another Lovin' Rockets. This is one that I actually had back in high school. These next few ones are all ones I had back in the day. So Violent Femmes, this one, a classic. It's got the lyrics handwritten on the, or copy of the handwritten lyrics. The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. I really loved the Smiths back in high school. I also loved Mighty Lemon Drops, so here's two from them. And then this one here, Talking Heads, I ended up getting, this is one of the ones I got when I was relatively young, and one of those, you know, you pay $1 or a penny or whatever, and you get like 10, you get to pick out 10 albums, and then they try to send you ones every month, and if you don't like fill out the form, then you got to pay for it or whatever. So I learned that lesson on that one, but yeah, those are some of the more kind of 80s alternative. So these would be more contemporary bands that I've discovered in the last maybe 10 years or so. If you've never heard the band Men I Trust out of Canada, they are so good. So I've got a few of their albums here. Indie style band, but yeah, Men I Trust, they are so good. And then the Pains of Being Pure of Heart, I love them too, a little bit more modern. Foster the People, you can't go wrong with them from the early to like 2010s. Like I said earlier, I love indie bands. I have really enjoyed the Shins since the early 2000s. This was a birthday present that my brother-in-law gave me, a live recording. And then this one here is a re-release. I think it was like the 20 or 25th anniversary of Oh Inverted World, which is really awesome. So those are a little bit more contemporary indie style. And then this next batch here are mostly from like the early 90s or so, and a little bit of shoegaze and just like heavy distortion music. This one here is Pale Saints. I had this CD back in the day. I really love this album. My Bloody Valentine, they've been one of my favorites again since the early 90s. Interestingly, I've been really hooked on Slowdive in the last couple of years, and I really didn't listen to them back in the day. And this album here was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. This is one of those scenarios where a band disbanded or whatever and came back together like 20 years later. And I honestly think their new stuff is just as good as, if not better, than some of their older stuff. So really into Slowdive. Again, some of the colored vinyl special editions. This is their latest album that was released last fall. It's kind of got a crystal clear one. They're coming to St. Louis next month, and my son and I are going to go see Slowdive together, which is going to be awesome. Slowdive EP. Bowery Electric, another kind of shoegaze. I don't know if you call them shoegaze or they're a little bit more electronic, but this album, also from the early 90s, this is really, really good. Then we move into the more modern electronic music. My oldest daughter, is super into EDM and electronic music, and one of her favorite artists is Porter Robinson, and she turned me on to him a couple of years ago, and I really enjoy his stuff too. So I've got a couple of Porter Robinson albums here, and then same kind of genre as Madeon, and my daughter's boyfriend gave me this one as a Christmas present the year before last, but Madeon is really awesome. The next up in these contemporary albums, kind of in the same genre here, is Swarty, and I discovered Swarty through an online like VR-based concert that Porter Robinson put on, and Swarty is my absolute favorite modern contemporary artist. His music is so creative, it's so good, and so yeah, I've got a few of his smaller EP style albums here. He's done a couple re-releases, so I've got the new editions, and then my daughter actually reached out to him, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, and wanted to get me some special stuff for a Christmas present. And so I got one of his proofs for one of the albums, the listening proofs, and I got a couple of things autographed by him here. This is Swarty's most recent album, Compact Objects. Here's another one of those test pressings that she got me. And then he was in a band called the M Machine before he went solo, and that's this album. This is also really good. So yeah, that's most of the modern stuff. And then maybe for the sake of time, we'll kind of skip through over here, but I have a whole bunch of Grateful Dead, a whole bunch of Cat Stevens, and then some of the like things that I had with my family as kids that are still super sentimental. This was the first, I think this was the first record I got here, Twisted Sister. It's funny because right now Pee-wee's Big Adventure is my favorite movie, and they've got the Twisted Sister scene in there. But anyway, yeah, I had these Disney stories. So back before we had VHS and whatnot, if you wanted to relive your movies that you saw, they have the pictures in here, and then you play the record and it tells the story and you flip along, which these are super sentimental to me. And then yeah, just all kinds of random old stuff. So if you're into the old stuff and you'd like to see more, I guess let me know down in the comments. I don't want to take too long going through all of this, but yeah, or if there's any albums in particular that you're curious about, let me know. I'd love to chat with you guys. I'd love to hear if there's any music that you've been listening to that you've found to be really cool. All right, so I can imagine some of you guys are kind of saying, yeah, there's a reason why records aren't popular anymore. They're kind of a pain in the neck, and streaming is so much more convenient. But there really is something special about the ritual of playing a vinyl record. It demands your attention, it keeps you engaged, and you experience the albums as the way the artist intended them to be, kind of full and uninterrupted. And there's a tangible connection when you're actually holding the record and you pull it out of its sleeve and you take a minute to kind of look at the artwork, and then if there was the track listing or any of the album notes, kind of looking at those as you're listening. It's just really awesome. I love it. And then the other cool thing is it's a great way to support your favorite artists, especially if they're the indie ones who don't earn a whole bunch from streaming. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you haven't already to stay updated with all of the things from the nostalgic neighborhood. And if you're really feeling the vibe, share this video with a friend who loves music as much as we do. And thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next video. So yeah, keep spinning those records, and then keep those bike and skate wheels spinning too. All right, bye-bye.